Hi, morning everybody, it's Nick. I wanted to vlog today about anxiety. It's the last morning of my retreat and anxiety has come to visit and I wanted to show people how it feels in the moment while it's here. So this isn't the easiest thing to do, but I think it's really, really important because I've suffered from it all of my life. The menopause has definitely amplified it and made it more frequent, but it's always been there, and I suspect it is for the people. Last night I spoke to my son and they go out and run across the road, and they've been timing themselves. They do this 5 or 6k route, and they've been trying to get faster each time. And last night my son told me that there was a family in front of him. It's not a path, it's a private road. It's probably the width of about 1.5 cars. And my son politely asked if he could get past them because they were walking, because he was timing himself, because every time they go out they're trying to do a personal best, which, you know, honestly, for a 14, 12 and 9-year-old, I think it's amazing that they're trying to do that and push themselves. And the family basically refused and said, no, you'll have to wait. And my son was, he was upset because it added 4 minutes to his time and he was just trying to get his run in. And it really wouldn't have cost that family anything to just move to one side to let him pass. There is, you know, so it's quite a wide private road, and it's certainly something I would have done. And that was what set the anxiety off. And it's really, really difficult to try and put your finger on it. I guess it started because I just thought, well, that's just mean. And then I thought, and I wasn't there to protect him or to say anything or to make things differently. Interestingly, obviously he's okay. He was quite matter of fact about it. And this whole thing starts ruminating in me, and it goes round and round in my head, and I couldn't get to sleep. And then it turns into something bigger, because then it turns into, oh, but God, you know, that's our normal running route. And, you know, we've been having so much fun, you know, kind of doing this competition of who can do the 6k in the quickest time. Obviously, I'm the slowest. And now what if we go back out there again and that family are there again, and what if they're rude again? And I don't want to have to deal with people at that level of energy, because if that was me, I'd just be like, yeah, great, of course I'll move, and you go, you know, go for it, that's really great. But not everybody is like that. And I don't know why, but I just know that, you know, it just triggers some real deep anxiety. And rather than just being upset about the event he's telling me about, I'm now thinking ahead to all of these things that go, well, what if it's ruined? What if we can never do that running route again? You know, and I mean, and the reality is, you know, my cognitive bit steps in, and the reality is that we're highly unlikely to ever, you know, bump into whoever that family was again, because, you know, it's a big village and we go at different times, and oh, blah, 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 you know, the list could go on. You can give me all of the rational arguments in the world, but that did not stop this thing ruminating in my head and going round and round and round for most of the night. And the night before, the thing that I was ruminating about was we have Alexa at home, and when the announcements go through the house on Alexa, they pop up on my phone, because obviously my husband has all of the IT gadgets in the world. And I stupidly looked at one of the announcements, which was just simply asking the boys to turn off the hosepipe outside. And, you know, my anxiety kicks in, because I'm thinking, shit, you know, what if that hosepipe's in the pool? What if the pool overflows and it breaks the pool? Or what if that hosepipe is in the chicken area and it creates a big pool of water, and we've got a little chick and the chick falls in it and dies? And you can just see, you know, the list just goes on and it just runs away with itself. And then the one yesterday was, you know, I've been on this retreat to write my book, and the whole point of writing my book is I want to write the truth. And the truth is not always comfortable, and it has meant that I've had to revisit a lot of stuff in my life that has been difficult, particularly when I was younger. And the other day I wrote a really, really deeply traumatic chapter, and it was a real paradox, because actually I was actually really very, very proud of the quality of writing and the way I was able to tell the story. But on the other hand, it was a very, very traumatic thing to be able to do. And then I thought, well, I would perhaps like to start publishing snippets of the book, of the chapters, just to see how they stand in their own right and whether they resonate with people. And I did publish on one of on Medium, one of the publishing platforms I used, and I deleted it. And do you know why I deleted it? Because it was a really hard story, and I thought, well, if my husband reads that, it's going to be really, really hard for him. In my mind, I'm thinking this, and actually, he might not like what I've written. Not that it's about him at all. It's, it's about something that happened 20 years before I met my husband. And actually, if he doesn't like it, he might see me in a different light, and then he might stop loving me, and then he might not want to be with me, and he might want to leave me. And, you can just see this whole thing runs away with itself. And of course, it's all bollocks. And of course, my husband knows about the thing that happened. And, when I tell him, he's just like, what are you worrying about? And then the other problem is, when you start to, these things are going round and round and round in your head, and I find them crippling. So this morning, as I'm laid in bed, and I am really ruminating, and I am so upset and wound up and fearful. I'm really, really fearful about what happened to Harry on his run, and whether it's going to happen again, and whether I'm going to bump into those people. I am crippled, and I literally can't physically move. And I'm laid on the bed because these thoughts are just controlling me, and they are shackling me. And that is anxiety. And I actually took some of my medication this morning to just calm myself down. And I've just come out of breakfast. I'm on the last morning of my retreat. And I am just sat at that breakfast table, and I am fighting to keep the tears at bay. And I am fighting so hard to stop the fear from just overwhelming me. And when you say these things out loud, when people say to you, well, what's the matter? And you actually tell them what's the matter, it's, I'm talking about really pissy stuff that in any rational, normal world means nothing. And then I'm talking about stuff that hasn't even happened and is highly unlikely to ever happen. It's beyond imagination. It's beyond rationale, rhyme or reason. But that doesn't matter with anxiety. Anxiety doesn't give a shit about reality. It doesn't give a shit about rationale, what is real or what isn't. And the minute you put one thing to bed, the minute you find something to be able to calm it, to be able to put it away, if anybody else finds it, my mind just goes to the next thing. And it just goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And it's fucking exhausting. And it is, it's crippling. It's the only way I can describe it, is crippling. And it just comes from the simplest, silliest things. And I have tried lots of therapy. I'm deeply spiritual. I really work hard at trying to understand myself, and therefore be able to live alongside this in a much healthier way, because I know this isn't healthy. But I also realise that if I am, and the other thing is, I know it will flow. And actually one of the things that does really help, again, it's a real paradox, because doing these vlogs is not easy. There isn't some narcissistic drive here. It's fucking hard. But I know that if I'm like this, I suspect there are a lot of silent people. And I think the silence that goes with the anxiety and the loneliness makes it much more debilitating, and can really fester and manifest itself. And it can grow, and it can become toxic. And I know by allowing it to flow and just talking, because when I talk, even when I talk to my husband, who is incredibly patient, or my family and whatever, it's not that they're not empathetic, it's not that they don't care, but you get to a point where people are knackered. They're knackered through listening to the same thing and not being able to help you deal with the beast. And maybe one of the things that I just find help is just to allow it out, just to, to allow the words to come out of my mouth and to say, this is how it feels. And already, even just having had this conversation with whoever, I don't even know who I'm having this conversation with, is helping me. And I want to show what anxiety feels like. And I've suffered from it all of my life. And I may well continue to suffer from it. But I don't want others to feel that they're alone. And I don't want others to feel that they are mad, or they are broken, or they are odd, or there's something wrong with them. Because sometimes I just think it's the way we are, and it's part of accepting and embracing ourselves. And it's part of just joining together to know that if I feel trapped, you might feel trapped. But actually, we're not alone. And this is anxiety. This is how it looks. Sending lots of love. Take care. Bye.